Welcome to the Explainer. If you're a focused learner who really wants to understand the engine powering modern AI, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going on a fascinating journey to demystify NVIDIA's Tensor Cores. We're going to build our understanding from the bare silicon level all the way up to macro-level software optimization.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Tensor Core advantage, take a peek inside the Volta microarchitecture, calculate flops per MMA, look at how to enable these cores properly, and finally, master tile and wave quantization.
First up, Section 1, the Tensor Core Advantage.
So, why do tensor cores even exist? Well, it all comes down to the absolute core bottleneck in deep learning, massive, parallel matrix multiplications. To handle that kind of load, we need highly specialized hardware. Just look at the sheer scale of the Volta Streaming Multiprocessor, or SM, right here. Each one of these SMs packs 8 specialized tensor cores. And on a GPU like the V100, which rocks 80 of these SMs, that gives you 640 tensor cores in total. We're talking a staggering 125 mixed precision tensor T-flops.
But here's an absolutely crucial distinction we have to make. Tensor cores don't just magically speed up every single operation. They only accelerate the really math-heavy stuff, things like convolutional and fully connected layers. We refer to these as math-limited because the calculation speed itself is the bottleneck. On the flip side, operations like bias, normalization, and ReLU activation layers are what we call memory-limited. Because they spend way more time just fetching data than actually doing math, they don't directly benefit from tensor cores.
Moving right along to Section 2, inside the Volta microarchitecture.
All right, so we've got the macro view of the SM and the workloads it accelerates. Now let's shrink ourselves down and step right into the engine room. To bridge the gap between theoretical math and the code actually executing, we rely on the WMMA abstraction. That stands for Warp Matrix Multiply and Accumulate. Basically, it's a CUDA programming abstraction that lets a warp, which is a lockstep group of 32 threads, cooperatively compute the fundamental equation of deep learning. Matrix D equals matrix A times matrix B plus matrix C.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that equation maps directly to memory layout. Over on the left, we see the tiled matrix breakdown for A, B, and C, and on the right is the arithmetic grid for A times B plus C. Thread blocks cooperatively produce tiles of the output matrix. It's a highly structured, tiled outer product approach where partial products are just summed up to complete the final generalized matrix multiply arithmetic.
Now let's peer directly into the actual hardware pipeline executing all of this. If you look inside the microarchitecture of a Volta Tensor Core, notice how specific data tiles for A, B, and C are fed straight from the operand buffers right into the dot product units. Those results are then accumulated and passed down to the result buffer. It's literally a highly tuned, parallel assembly line built exclusively for matrix math.
Okay, Section 3, calculating flops per MMA. So we've seen the hardware pipeline. Now, to really quantify its arithmetic power, let's walk through the mechanics step by step so the dense math feels totally manageable. To calculate the generalized matrix multiply, step 1 is multiplying A by B. That requires k multiplications and k-1 additions per element. Step 2 is adding matrix C, which requires exactly 1 addition per element. If you sum all of that up, the total floating point operations formula simplifies beautifully down to m times n times 2k.
Applying that formula to a standard matrix multiply accumulate operation for a 4x4x4 matrix makes things very clear. If we map those dimensions right into our formula, we get 4 times 4 times 2 times 4, and that naturally yields the exact mathematical limit of 128 floating point operations. So, the crucial point here is this specific number, 128 flops per MMA. Every single time one of these tensor cores fires off a warp matrix multiply and accumulate operation for a 4x4x4 block, it is executing exactly 128 operations in parallel. That is the core concept of throughput that we're always trying to maximize.
Which brings us to Section 4, enabling tensor cores properly.
Understanding that 128 flop power is awesome, but for practical software application, we need to know the API gotchas. Tensor cores don't just automatically turn on for every workload. To successfully trigger them using libraries like QBLOS or QDDN, you have to follow some pretty strict padding rules. For instance, QBLOS requires matrix dimensions, m, n, and k, to be multiples of 128 bits for better performance.
Similarly, QDDN requires convolution input and output channel counts to also be multiples of 128 bits.
Just look at the sharp dips in this chart tracking operation duration for FP16 precision. The calculations are significantly faster, the durations drop like a rock when the dimension k is divisible by 8. Failing to divide by 8 literally leaves a massive 2 to 4x speedup just sitting on the table. It's basically the difference between flying on tensor cores or limping along on standard hardware.
And finally, Section 5, Mastering Tile and Wave Quantization. This is kind of the climax of our explainer. It's where we reveal how macro-level scheduling can become a silent performance killer, especially when you're dealing with massive transformer workloads like large language models where optimizing matrix size is paramount. To understand this, let's imagine a perfect parallelization baseline. Picture a hypothetical GPU with 16 streaming multiprocessors working on 10 by 10 tiles. If we have a 40 by 40 matrix, the math works out perfectly. 40 divides cleanly by 10, creating exactly 16 tiles. We have 16 SMs, so that precisely equals 1 tile per SM. The matrix dimensions and SM counts align flawlessly, generating absolutely zero wasted effort.
But what happens if our matrix is, say, 40 by 31? Boom, we introduce our first silent killer, tile quantization. Because 31 doesn't divide evenly by 10, the hardware still creates columns of 10 by 10 tiles, but the edges are partially empty. The hardware is computing what we call wasted payload. It's executing on completely empty, useless space simply because the matrix didn't divide evenly by the tile size.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is our second killer, wave quantization. Let's take a 40 by 50 matrix. The tiles divide cleanly, giving us 20 tiles in total. But remember, we only have 16 SMs. That means we schedule one full wave of 16 tiles, leaving a tail wave of just 4 leftover tiles. While those 4 tail tiles process, 12 of our multiprocessors are sitting completely idle, like employees just twiddling their thumbs waiting for a meeting to end. The entire GPU is waiting on a few tail tiles, wasting massive compute potential.
And here we drive the climax home with the ultimate performance tragedy, double inefficiency. For a 40 by 41 matrix, you suffer from both. Your 41 dimension forces partially empty tiles, so there's your tile quantization. And the total number of tiles spills over into a tail wave, leaving SMs entirely idle. There's your wave quantization. You have simultaneous empty tile space and idle hardware multiprocessors. Ouch.
Which brings us to the core takeaway of this entire deep dive. Choosing matrix dimensions with attention to tile size and SM count is a great way to improve performance. You, as the developer and engineer, hold the direct power to eliminate this wasted work simply by selecting careful, hardware-friendly dimensions.
So I'm going to leave you with a bit of a provocative challenge as we wrap up today's explainer. Go look closely at your own models. Are your neural network dimensions leaving massive blocks of your tensor cores completely idle through hidden quantization waste? Or are you optimizing your matrix sizes and maximizing every single flop your hardware has to offer? Audit your dimensions, because that extra performance is literally yours for the taking. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me today on The Explainer.